Hello, Mystery Seekers. I'm Greg with another episode of my History Mystery blog. Today we are diving into one of the greatest mysteries of human civilization, the enigmatic Egyptian pyramids. These colossal stone giants have stood for over 4,500 years, silently guarding secrets buried deep within their corridors and chambers. How were they built? Who really constructed them? And why? Join us as we journey through ancient texts, hidden tunnels, and cutting-edge discoveries to separate fact from myth in the ultimate quest to understand the true meaning of the pyramids and what their mystery might reveal about our past, our technology, and the lost knowledge of a forgotten world. As always, I've brought along my brilliant co-host Brian to guide us through the details. So cozy up, get comfortable, and let him take the reins. Brian, the mic is yours.
Thank you for the great intro, Greg. Now sit back, relax, and let me take over. Let's dive into this mystery and uncover the secrets hidden for centuries. For thousands of years, the pyramids have stood in silence, indifferent to the babble of historians, the arrogance of archaeologists, and the desperate need of modern minds to explain the unexplainable. They do not care whether we believe they were tombs, temples, or transmitters. They simply are. Monuments not just to a pharaoh, not just to a civilization, but to something far more unsettling, the possibility that human history is not what we have been taught. We are told that the Great Pyramid was built by tens of thousands of laborers during the reign of Khufu around 2580 BCE. We are shown worker villages, bread ovens, and the diary of Mira, a scribe who, it is said, oversaw the transport of limestone from Tura to Giza. We are told that with ramps, sledges, and wet sand, they moved blocks weighing dozens of tons. And perhaps they did. Perhaps this is part of the story. But is it the whole story? Because if this were merely a tomb, a glorified grave, then it is the most absurdly over-engineered tomb in human history. Why bury a king beneath a structure that aligns with the stars, resonates with the Earth's frequency, focuses electromagnetic waves, and embodies mathematical constants like pi and the golden ratio? Why build something requiring knowledge of astronomy, geodesy, and structural engineering so precise that even today we struggle to replicate it without computers? And why, if the purpose was simply burial, did the ancient Egyptians build so many such structures, not just in Egypt, but across the globe? And finally, why build a structure meant to be a burial chamber, yet leave it empty, with no one ever buried there? From the pyramids of Teotihuacan in Mexico, aligned with the stars of Orion's belt, just like Giza, to the megalithic temples of Malta, older than Stonehenge and the pyramids themselves. From the Cyclopean walls of Sacsayhuaman in Peru, where stones weighing hundreds of tons fit together so perfectly that not even a blade of grass can slip between them, to the underwater ruins off the coast of Yonaguni in Japan, a vast geometric complex descending into the Pacific. The pattern repeats. Humanity, or something before humanity, was building on a scale and with a precision that defies the narrative of gradual technological ascent. And yet, we are expected to believe that these feats were accomplished by people with copper tools and wooden rollers. Let us be honest, this is not science, this is myth-making. A creation story for the modern age, one in which progress is linear, knowledge accumulates, and no one before us could have been wiser, more advanced, or more capable. It is a story that comforts us because it places us at the top of the pyramid, literally and figuratively. But what if it is wrong? What if instead we are not the pinnacle of civilization, but the survivors of one that came before? Imagine a world, not so long ago, perhaps 12,000 years ago, when a global catastrophe, possibly a comet impact or a pole shift, wiped out an advanced civilization. Its cities were swallowed by the sea, its records destroyed, its knowledge lost, but not all of it. Some structures remained. Not as monuments to the dead, but as markers, warnings, or even machines. The pyramids then were not built by the Egyptians as tombs, but repurposed by them, long after their original function had been forgotten. This is not fantasy, it is a hypothesis, and it is one that better explains the evidence. Why else would the casing stones of the Great Pyramid, made of polished Tura limestone, have made it shine like a beacon visible for hundreds of miles? Why else would the pyramid, stripped of its outer layer, still demonstrate such precise geometry? Why else would modern studies show that it concentrates electromagnetic energy in its chambers and beneath its base? It is entirely plausible, perhaps even necessary, to consider that the pyramids and other megalithic structures around the world were not built by Bronze Age farmers, but by a civilization far older and more advanced than our own, one that mastered energy, engineering, and materials science in ways we are only beginning to rediscover. If such a civilization existed and reached a technological peak, possessing not just sophisticated construction methods but also powerful energy systems, possibly even nuclear capabilities, it is not unreasonable to imagine it collapsing in a cataclysm of its own making. A global war, a chain reaction of destruction, a sky-splitting event that turned cities to glass and knowledge to ash. This could explain why we find no continuous record of such a culture, why its tools and writings are absent, and why its greatest works stand isolated, their purpose forgotten. What we call the ancient Egyptians may not have been the builders, but the inheritors, a post-apocalyptic society that stumbled upon these silent, radiant monuments, mistook them for tombs or temples, and tried to mimic them with the crude means at their disposal. And if this is true, then the pyramids are not a testament to human beginnings, but a warning from our end, a reminder that civilizations rise, achieve greatness, and then vanish, not with a whimper but with a fire that erases itself from history. Nikola Tesla believed the pyramids were not tombs, but power plants, part of a global network harnessing the Earth's natural resonance. He didn't prove it, but he didn't dismiss it either. He listened to the structure, and what he heard was not silence but a hum, a frequency, a design, a purpose. And what of the so-called air shafts in the Great Pyramid? Narrow passages that don't lead to the outside, yet align with specific stars, or the absence of any inscriptions in the king's chamber, or the fact that no mummy has ever been found inside. We are told these are irrelevant, that the pyramid was looted, that the pharaohs moved their burial sites later, that the lack of evidence is not evidence of absence. But what if the absence is the clue? What if the pyramid was never meant to hold a body, but energy? What if it was a device, not a tomb, a resonator, a transformer, a machine designed to tap into the Earth's telluric currents, to amplify them, to transmit them? We mock the idea, until we realize that modern physics confirms the pyramid does focus electromagnetic waves, that granite, rich in quartz, is piezoelectric, capable of generating electricity under pressure, that the entire structure sits on a geological fault line, possibly chosen for its energetic properties, and yet we still insist on the wooden rollers. Why? Because to admit otherwise would be to admit that we are not the first, that someone before us, perhaps long before, achieved a level of understanding we are only now beginning to glimpse. And if that is true, then their fate or their collapse is not just a historical curiosity. It is a warning, because if a civilization capable of building the pyramids, of manipulating energy, of aligning structures with the cosmos, if such a civilization could vanish, then so can we. Not from war, not from plague, but from hubris, from the belief that we are invincible, from the refusal to see the cracks forming in our own world, ecological, social, spiritual. The pyramids are not just monuments of the past, they are mirrors. And what they reflect is not the glory of Khufu, but the fragility of all who build too high. We do not know what they were for. We do not know who built them, or who first built them. We do not know why they are where they are, why they are shaped as they are, or why they endure. And perhaps that is the point, because the greatest mystery is not the pyramid. It is why we are so desperate to explain it, and why we are so afraid of the possibility that we never will.
And that's a wrap for today. We hope this presentation was both helpful and inspiring, and that it sparked your curiosity about history mystery. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to check out more of our podcast. We've got plenty more celestial wisdom coming your way. Got a topic you're dying to explore? Let us know. It'll be my pleasure to dive into it in a future video and answer all your burning questions. Till then, stay curious, stay cosmic, and live your best, most aligned life.